Welcome back, party people. Another Let's Play part. We're gonna continue this part of the mission because this mission's a little long. But here we go. We're gonna try. And we're gonna continue talking about Mr. Herbert Hoover himself.
We serve until the end.
Mother, protect us.
Banner's infernal device has torn through the wards themselves. If we're to have any chance of stopping Lilith, we must interrupt her mystic's ritual and seal that breach. Your time has come.
In the face, you mystic.
They deserve no mercy. It's all coming back to me.
I have 4 turns. Okay. Oh, that'll help.
Interesting tactic.
Herbert Hoover. They have 2 kids. He and his wife get married. They have 2 kids. Doesn't really. He's too busy for religion, honestly. If I'm going to be brutally honest with you,
Depths.
doesn't keep up with the church. He's an industrious man. You know what I'm saying? He's busy.
You won't wear me down that easily, fiend.
World War One does break out though, and he ends up becoming a very.
Wealth and power with just a
Sorry, if you taunt, you shall hound.
either will
Noted. Okay.
bring as many as you like. It won't make a difference. A gift from ancient traditions. I saw a move like that once, centuries ago.
Heh.
Their mystics fall before us.
World War One does break out. Herbert Hoover lends his support to the Wilson administration, and it's famously noted for him that he basically always points out that public life, that his life was over in a lot of ways, and that or his career was over, and that he was basically going to be in the public sector from this point on, basically. Good Lord, I'm really going to have to do something about that. If I only had Captain America with me. But no, they didn't want to give me Captain America. Oh, this is going to be a hard one.
Maybe I should be flattered.
I know I'm new to this old prophecy game, Doc, but none of this is good, is it?
No, Peter, it is not. Perhaps you and the hunter should retreat to a safe distance. I will be.
What? 2 steps behind us? I've seen too many movies to fall for that one. I'm staying.
As am I.
Coming at you.
beautiful. But he basically was
Centuries ago.
in charge of the financial aspects of... This is not good. I'm just getting garbage cards, to be honest with y'all. He was in charge of getting Americans out of Europe during World War I and the early parts of the war, because understand that the United States and during World War I, people were in Europe, Americans were in Europe, so he was basically like charged with, hey, you gotta get him back, Crap. This is not good. You're pretty powerful, and yeah.
The rift opens.
There's another portal. Ugh. Of course.
Respond. Anyone. Damn this interference. Not getting through.
The mystical barrier that separates the realms is collapsing. Some technical difficulties are to be expected. I don't know if you can still hear me, Sarah, but if something should happen, please tell Tony not to touch.
Need to use some strategery here. Sure.
You know, you're pretty good at this.
Watch closely.
Okay, that was pretty cool.
Lordy. I want the 2 counter.
Let us see if they have an answer for this. We're paid to see.
Ooh, I like it.
Okay, I'll take that. Oh crap. Okay, just gotta survive.
Your end is near.
But Hoover worked tirelessly, worked everywhere. Helped them get back to the United States. Ended up working for the basically what would become, I think, the FDA, as head of the specific administration, specifically for food efficiency, fuel efficiency. Also worked for the American Relief Administration for the United States to help basically everyone in Europe not starve, to help bring supplies over, etc., etc. He does a lot of good work, does a lot of good jobs. It's probably way overkill.
Time for you to lose your temper, Doctor. This would be
First off, who needs health? Do I risk it? Going to just gonna heal and play it safe for this one.
I'm afraid you might have to get back from this one.
Just what this battle requires.
I gotta take out one of these witches. I should be taking out the big guys because they're doing way too much damage on me. But I don't know what these witches are capable of.
A doctor and a powerful. Impressive.
Now, Herbert Hoover and Woodrow Wilson are aligned in a lot of different ways. They differ on some things, which leads me to believe Herbert Hoover's a little bit better and different. But ultimately, Hoover is really aligned with Woodrow Wilson on so many different policies and different ideals. Oh, Spider-Man's dead. Oh, crap. Not good. Do I even have any revives left? How is this gonna work? How is this gonna work? Can I revive him? Looks like I can't. Great.
Come in many forms.
Ugh.
I see not much has changed among the world's fanatics.
This won't end. Lilith doesn't care about you. I hope
Yes.
you realize that in time.
Let's kill all the witches first, might as well.
I'm glad to have your magic on our side, Doctor.
I'm gonna keep that card. He's down.
Follow my lead. The light shines on the most dutiful. It's remarkable how well Hydra manages to attract new recruits.
It's getting stressful, people.
Leave some for the rest of us. Lilith herself could not best you. What makes you think you will fare any better?
I think that's good. Okay, but basically Herbert Hoover's just doing public service stuff around this particular point in time. He's very close to Woodrow Wilson. Actually, Woodrow Wilson uses a lot of his perspectives and ideals to promote a lot of his agenda, I guess you could say.
Change their minds.
Okay.
Have the upper hand for now.
I'm just probably gonna overkill all these people.
That's the spirit.
Give me something good, people. I mean, he was big in everything. He was big in propaganda. He was big in trying to help Europe, and he made the controversial decision to try and aid the Germans as much as possible post-war in food and economic relief that he could possibly do.
Well done, my
Yeah, that's how we do. And because of all this, especially during the Woodrow Wilson administration, during the 1920 Republican National Convention, his name's thrown in the ring as a prominent potential presidential candidate, which looked pretty promising from initially, but I think what helped him first and foremost is the fact that he did back Warren G. Harding when it looked like he wasn't going to be getting the nomination, and was really just building a lot of influence within Harding's, I guess you could say, circle of trust in the Republican establishment at that point in time. And Harding ends up giving Hoover a spot in his cabinet as the Secretary of the Interior. No, sorry. He was given either the Secretary of Interior or the Secretary of Commerce, but chooses the Secretary of Commerce.
really sucked.
He's progressive in a lot of the right ways. He's also for the League of Nations, international aid all across the world. I mean, he's traveled all across the world, so, you know, that makes a lot of sense.
My whole life, ripped open and decimated before my eyes.
We need to have a serious conversation about Lilith. She's much stronger than we anticipated.
We did everything we could, and it still wasn't enough.
Lilith is a pain, for sure. But right now, she's hiding behind our boy Bruce. And if he's giving her IT advice, then that's a problem I can do something about.
I failed. How else can I describe it? I failed not just my teammates, but the world.
That's right. You did fail. All of you.
Oh, hey, don't sugarcoat it or anything.
But that doesn't mean you lost. And that is an important distinction. This war is far from over. And tomorrow we will rise again. And fight again.
I'm too tired for a hoorah.
Man, the caretaker is really salty.
I appreciate the inspirational words. We all needed it.
I'm sure. Now rest, get some sleep. All of you. The battle
Now, during his
will wait.
time as the commerce lead for both Coolidge and Harding, there's a lot of push for all this economic development, regulation of air travel, radio regulation. Planes are a thing. Remember that, people. Wright brothers. That was just part 1? Oh, how long is part 2 going to be? I'm sorely mistaken, people. I do know that we do get Bruce Banner at some point, and Scarlet Witch, so I'm guessing...
This is difficult for you, Stephen.
Ugh,
But the
this is going to be a
sanctuary
long
is
game.
gone, and
I
we
thought I was going to be
will
able to
plan
finish this a
for what
lot
comes
sooner.
next.
But I guess not.
Armageddon has already happened. What's next is hell on Earth. The barrier has been breached. Expect the world to fall, city by city.
He was a big humanitarian and really pushed forth a lot of...
It's not just losing the sanctum that hurts us. It's also
a lot for industry. The American car and auto industry is really big.
It's his mind that I'm most worried about.
It's funny, street crime or street and car travel wasn't even a thing, so he's like a big individual who pushes forth a lot of the whatchamacallit,
Blaze is being
regulations that ultimately become like the rules of
Let us lower
you know, cars and how we drive them. You know, DMVs and whatnot. You can blame Herbert Hoover. Whoa. Okay. A lot of things are happening, people. Get that stuff later.
Time's wasting, Hunter. We need
Hell yeah.
I still
Now, who's
say we
hurt?
should've built a firing range first.
Spidey, I gotta heal you, buddy. I'll do that later, honestly. At this point, not to be rude, I just want to finish this game.
Getting reports of zombies in the sewers.
Vampires in Manhattan? More vampires in Manhattan.
The green sky is growing.
All right. Let's not give in to rumors.
Sorry, Cap. I don't think
Hoover does get his name recognition even more so in a positive light, which basically he helped out during the Mississippi flood of 1927, which, like I said before, for Coolidge was like the Hurricane Katrina of the time, and he helped do pretty much raise a bunch of different money
Holes open up. Only in this case, instead of
and
nasty sun.
provided aid in every single way that he possibly could during that crisis. It actually ended up overshadowing Calvin Coolidge, who at that point was like, yeah, I'm outie. So in a lot of ways, he becomes like the guy, you know? And, you know, people, the books, well, biographies say that he was quietly trying to get into the bid for the presidency during the 1920s. And it's like, okay, he's clearly trying to become the president of the United States. Let's not sugarcoat it here, people. It's not like he was like, no, I guess if it is me. It's like, no, it's like, I'll take charge of this. Put my name in the newspaper. You know, like he's very, very prominent along those lines. But he did think Coolidge was going to run for another term, and he was surprised when he didn't. So Hoover was just like, okay, I'm gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? I'm the guy now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people in the Republican establishment were very wary. They were very cautious. They wanted more of a moderate candidate, like Coolidge's Secretary of State, Charles Evan Hughes. But he just didn't want to run. So pretty much this is one of those moments. Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, I forgot Wolverine. And Cap. Honestly, if I can get Captain America in most of these, I'm gonna try and get Captain America in most of these levels. But basically, everyone's trying to get Hoover to not run. They're trying to get all these separate candidates, but they're basically like, it's just not happening. We can't gain enough support. We don't have, no one else has the name recognition in relative comparison of Herbert Hoover. So he wins it literally on the first ballot. And another New York governor, his name is Mr. Al Smith, gets the nomination. And it was a big nomination because, again, Catholics are not very prominent in politics and not very well liked, which is why it was such a big thing when Kennedy wins his election, because he was the first Catholic president specifically. But Al Smith is probably the first major political nominee to run for the presidency. Regardless, he ends up just getting his ass handed to him. Hoover's dominant. Republicans are very dominant. They're popular, and he wins in just a spanking, to put it politely. Herbert Hoover becomes the next president of the United States of America, and good lord, they are loud today. Wins like 400 and like almost 400 electoral votes, 58% of the popular vote. Economy's good, everything's good. So of course he's gonna win. It just makes a lot of sense. Even parts of the south, like the deep south, they were not very keen on the New York governor who's Catholic. So like he ends up winning a bunch of states that normally go pretty blue. Wins Texas. Like, that tells you what ultimately ends up happening, you know? Oh, good lord. Okay.
We'll just have to hope Blaze can handle the escape on his own. Your own to deal with now. All that won't net. And those altars she's summoning are going to make things a lot harder unless you destroy them too.
I honestly have no idea what I'm in for right now.
And just because Lilith decided to talk through this one, don't
Are these altars? Yep. Actually, Cap and movie here. Ooh. Yeah, let's do that. Is Berserk free? Draw 2 cards. It's really the only thing I can do. Berserker! Ooh. Oh, they really don't like you, Cap. And I'm corrupted. What does that mean?
Brace yourselves, people. Company's coming.
There can be no resistance.
Good lord.
Still want a piece?
Destroying those altars may be the fastest way to bring her down.
Assuming we can get past that guardian.
Oof. Not good. Don't die, Cap. Oof. Crap.
Hope you're ready. That's something.
Heal Cap. It's my boy.
Every little bit helps. That must have taken practice. Had your chance.
That just seemed unnecessary, but Wolverine don't care.
They're sending in reinforcements.
Okay, what the heck am I gonna do? Crap.
Any altars you don't destroy she'll attempt to turn into monuments, shrines to Lilith that manipulate the battlefield.
I never knew my mother was so vain.
I assume that comes with the territory when you have a cult following to maintain.
Crude, but effective.
Okay.
Done waiting.
That's right, Wolverine. Alright, anyways, Herbert Hoover becomes the President of the United States of America. Taunted. Immediately.
Right here.
Also, Wolverine's pretty much screwed.
Never get
Wolverine's probably dead. This next attack might do it. Nope. This attack will do it. How are you not dead yet?
forget a face.
Whoa.
And still the prize. Use a medic.
Once he gets into office, he pushes forth pretty much everything you can think of. A lot of government spending, which is the complete opposite of what Calvin Coolidge had attempted to do as president. Am I dead yet? Is Wolverine just built different? He's probably just built different. We'll destroy that one. Ha! And immediately, unfortunately for him, the Great Depression happens very immediately in his first term. Black October, whatever you want to call it, the stock market crashes in 1929, which puts the economy in such a great downward spiral, not just in the United States, but really, all across the world. Everyone's facing, therefore, the Great Depression because a lot of economies are tied to the United States. And I'll just put it this way. People do blame him for the Great Depression in a lot of ways. I think the truth is that the Great Depression is something that could have been probably fixed much sooner than later, and largely resolved a lot quicker than it probably should have been. And I think, in part, the excess use of the federal government and federal spending only made things worse, ultimately, for the economy. And because of that, Hoover's not immune to blame, because he's one of the big reasons why it continues, and it's only made like 10 times worse under FDR. He puts forth a whole bunch of different fiscal stimulus packages and pushes forward a lot of things. Where's Wolverine at? Alright, so they did give me some health.
Ain't gonna be a problem doing it again. You had your chance to escape.
Because, and two reasons. One, the biggest specifically is the fact that punch you into oblivion. Biggest reason for that is because the unemployment rate at its peak during Herbert Hoover's time as president, I think, reaches about 12% in like the mid 1930s or late into his term. No, sorry, 15% during his term. It gets much worse under FDR. And people are freaking out. People aren't investing. People are they're freaked out. Makes a lot of sense. And a bunch of people living in these Hoovervilles. At this particular point in time, it's not helping his name credibility and name recognition. And actually, again, and that's when, once it reaches 15%, he just like, okay, we're gonna put forth a whole bunch of different commissions. We're gonna basically create a whole slew of different government agencies that are gonna help fix a lot of these problems that are happening, that are accumulating. Wolverine, not looking good, buddy. I'm just gonna take the loss if necessary. He's doing everything. He's putting, the Federal Home Loan Act, creating a new establishment. Revive with 50% health, free exhaust. Okay.
Just what I need.
The Reconstruction Financial Corporation. Basically, the government just ballooned financially, which only just made things so much worse. And they had increased tax revenues from like 2% to 30 to 40% almost. Like it's just not good. Okay.
You should have seen their faces. Family night at the carnival. I could have almost tasted their fear right before they bought it.
Permanently impossible.
Oh, he's not dead yet? What the heck is this?
You heard the lady. Now it's my turn. So much for that.
Spangle Banner.
Leave some for the rest of us.
It doesn't help either that for Herbert Hoover that he is just not liked internationally, I'd probably say. The push for a more worldwide government, the economic realities that a lot of people would kind of blame him for. Not to mention, too, the breadcrumbs that will become the beginnings of World War II are happening. Japan invades Manchuria. Like, a lot of things are happening here around this particular point in time. And again, the issues with the war veterans of World War I wanting more compensation. It's just not a good situation. That's pretty much just all I can tell you for Herbert Hoover politically, and the excessive rise of communism that Herbert Hoover did not like. That's really the only thing I can tell you. It's just a, pardon my language, a complete shit show of a time as President of the United States of America. Just a complete shit show. So much so that, everyone was surprised when Herbert Hoover was going to run for re-election in 1932. FDR gets it. Obviously for the Democratic Party. He was actually initially going to step down, but felt a civic duty to, quote-unquote civic duty, to try and become the nominee again. He goes around the country, which helps, and I think a lot of people did see him as someone who did try, although failed miraculously. So I think that's part of why he ends up getting a lot of support within the primaries. Eventually, he does run and loses pretty badly. end this cap. And FDR ends up becoming the next president of the United States of America with just a complete and utter guttural domination of an election. FDR wins like almost 450 electoral votes. Herbert Hoover only wins like 40% of the vote. It's just not a good situation for him. Despite this, Hoover leaves office. He does try a re-election bid in 1936, opposing FDR's New Deal, but ultimately just doesn't get the nomination. Little tidbit too: Herbert Hoover meets with Adolf Hitler before World War II. I just thought that was funny. And I think he saw a lot of things that were happening and wanted to figure out how to ease certain relations. Because he had the mindset for Hitler that while Hitler was mad in terms of just angry, he was not a threat in a lot of ways, and believed wrongly that Hitler wasn't capable of doing a lot of the things that ultimately he was going to be capable of doing. Just shows poor judgment, I'll put it that way. Which leads me to believe that I don't think he understood people as well as he probably could have. And I think it just wasn't anyone who was really should have been president or really in negotiation. I think he knew what to do, knew a lot of the right things to say, but just a bad judge of character in a lot of ways. He opposed World War II, and this is over the next like 20-30 years of his life that he lived post-presidency. He tries to help out the numerous administrations that do come aboard, particularly Harry Truman's administration post-World War II. Still trying to help people and whatnot, doing his part as an American citizen. He was a Zionist, so he was always for Israel. Probably a big reason why Israel is a thing is because of his influence on Harry Truman, at least partly. So.
Since when did you two get so chummy?
Don't change the subject.
The spirits of vengeance have always been the secret guardians of the parchment of power.
Guardians? Blaze is probably using the page as toilet paper right now.
I met the guy. You're giving him too much credit.
We did what we had to do. That secret kept the page out of our enemies' hands for centuries.
He was still in Republican politics. He actually backed William Howard Taft's son, Robert, for the presidential nomination in 1952, but Eisenhower gets the nomination because the Republicans court him, so he fights and wins it. And he's there helping Eisenhower in any way that he can. Oh.
I wish I could have helped today, Hunter. Is Steve Rogers everyone's ideal dad?
Meets with Harry Truman. Understand that Herbert Hoover lives a very long time. I think he ends up passing away in 1964. Unfortunately, because of internal bleeding, because of a ruptured intestine. In fairness, he was born 1975, well into his 80s, almost like 90. And the man who sees a lot of history, and I think is a very interesting president. I think at that point he was one of the few presidents to actually live to the age of 90. Because who's he? So John Adams. No. Yeah, no, he's the second president to actually live to the age of 90. Yeah, that's Herbert Hoover basically in a nutshell. Someone who's had a lot of influence and I think did a lot of good things. Also did a lot of bad things and a lot of really dumb things. Misjudge of people, characterizations, and I think look, he's just not the brightest bulb in the bucket. I think he meant well in a lot of things. Understand, a lot of these people don't want to be evil people. Even our more recent presidents, I think. I just think they value money and power, and I think if they can do good things while cheating the American public, I think they would do so, you know? And, I mean, I'm not saying that's a good quality. I'm just saying that, you know, there has to be at least an understanding of it in relative comparison to other people. Haha, out of costume Wolverine.
You know, it's kind of rude to walk around in here and not give me so much as a hello.
I assumed you were asleep.
I don't sleep much. That doesn't stop me from enjoying the company.
Dude, I thought Captain America was jacked, but good lord.
Fight at the Quentin Carnival. I suppose we all could use a lengthy rest.
I can't get too comfortable. Not so long as Sabretooth's still out there.
He is your quarry, I take it?
I guess you could say that. We have a history. None of it nice. Though he's definitely changed. His nasty side got, well,
Yeah, it did.
nastier.
From what I have seen, he should not be much trouble for you.
I've been tracking and fighting him for decades. If he was easy to handle, trust me, I would have put him away for good ages ago.
I'm not gonna talk about FDR yet. He's a mouthful, and I'm only gonna go up till Reagan, and then I'll probably talk about elections and certain events and certain wars and stuff, or just certain other great historical figures that need a lot more talking about. Might even go back to like leaders of during the Crusades, you know, some of the great leaders of that particular time and era.
Okay, let's see. I've been all over the planet, and a few other planets besides.
Other planets?
Yeah, we're not alone in the universe, you know. There's the Kree, there's Skrulls, there's the Brood. Most aliens are better.
Because FDR is going to take...
There's a few good ones out there.
He's not going to take that long. And I think a lot of people do know his history. Because his administration is just...
Who's this mysterious guy?
Let's just say, at least with my family history, being ethnically Japanese in the United States, locking up a lot of my family in internment camps, not the biggest fan of him.
I have taken up enough of your time.
Little tidbit, my family used to vote Democrat a lot of the ways, and coincidentally, you know, they started voting Republican soon after, which I always find very funny. You know, Johnny, I haven't hung out with you in a while. Let's have a drink. Not to mention, too, a lot of his policies are nonsensical and dumb. Like, did you know that in order to regulate part of the food industry, they actually, like, just straight up killed, like, thousands and thousands of cows to bring up the prices competitively so that, you know, the farmers can actually make money and stuff like that? Or not farmers, but the food manufacturers can make money. It's crazy. Like, a lot of things happened during his New Deal that just... the more you look at it, the more it makes little sense why people would actually promote positive things and outcomes from this, to be honest with you. And personally to me, I think it's insulting that people would promote positive outcomes from the New Deal.
For what it's worth, I'm glad to have you around.
Thanks, Robbie.
It always strikes me how our families define so much about us. I wouldn't be who I am without my little brother. With my parents gone, I had to grow up fast, pay the bills, keep my grades up, and provide for Gabe, no matter what.
Sometimes you have to choose between
Tell the boy.
family and what really matters.
Tell Robbie.
No, you don't. You can't untangle it, Hunter.
I just wish they had Johnny Blaze instead of Robbie Reyes. I know what they're trying to do, trying to push the different generations, and, you know, let's just be honest, let's put a little DEI stuff when it comes to the characters. They just don't stop, my dogs.
heard about this crazy video online. A monkey riding a cat like it's a horse. You want to take a look? No. I think you'd love it. Maybe they were in.
Oh my god, just let me talk to these people.
I said no. Tony, don't you?
What are you reading, Nico?
A limited edition print of the Book of Thoth.
The Book of Thoth? Where did you find a book of such rarity?
I didn't. Someone just left it out. Weird, too, because I was looking for a book on chaos magic so I could understand Wanda's grimoire a little better. I didn't think I was gonna find any, since Caretaker probably hid or burned every single text on the topic. But, poof, here this was, waiting for me.
It does seem to be one of the centers of supernatural activity around here.
You feel that too, huh? Sometimes when I'm in here, all the hairs on my neck stand straight up. But in a warm and fuzzy, friendly ghost kind of way.
Find anything helpful in it?
I did.
Oh, Nico.
There's a historical account of an ancient Egyptian pharaoh who was struck by a dark madness after reading a page from an old book called...
I'm all over the place with this game.
The Scrolls of Cthulhu.
I don't mind long games. I generally do enjoy long games. I just wish they would be a little more comprehensive and engaging. And this game's all over the place with it. I mean, like the mission structure. I do appreciate it. A lot of these social interactions. I think a lot of people would like these social interactions. I'm just not personally a big fan of it.
So the legend goes that nothing could cure the pharaoh.
I mean, if there were more heroes, probably. And I just wish it was just made a little bit better. Like, it doesn't have to be like this. You know, maybe you can just do little things. And,
Sounds like the best possible outcome was reached for everyone involved.
Well, not for everyone.
I can't quite explain it.
So, like, when the light workers
I mean, this is just kind of boring, to be honest with you. Which is probably my only negative real drawback from the social interaction parts. I just wish if there was just more story structured stuff or more side missions you could do and you didn't have to go through the whole day process. I think this game would be a lot better. But the fact that I have to sit through like 3 or 4 minutes of just conversation like this for things that I'm a little bit just indifferent to. You know what I mean.
To save Wanda, we'll have to take risks.
100%. Well, I'm gonna find magic, see if we can make a dent in this transcription. I'll give you a shout when we do. Until then, not a word about this.
Mum's the word. I ain't no snitch. Let's talk to Cap or not Cap. Let's talk to.
Accusing me of keeping secrets, as if that's the biggest problem we have right now.
What is wrong with your arm, Iron Man?
The sky over New York was too subtle for them to notice?
I think they noticed.
Well, it wasn't intentional. We were supposed to win in New York. We weren't supposed to lose the Sanctum or Avengers Tower. Damn. I mean, call me crazy, but would sitting everyone down and telling them all about Blaze and the Parchment really have made a difference?
I understand why you did it. Fewer people who know about the Parchment, the better.
That's exactly right. When everyone operates on a need-to-know basis, they can focus.
Is that how you are able to focus?
Well, no, I need to know everything.
Of course you do, Tony.
Things are spiraling out of control, and right now, I just need to figure out what to do about this prophecy.
You really think you can stop the Darkhold's prophecy by working in here?
Well, I'm kind of known for making the impossible possible. Give me a couple hours and a decent lunch. Give me an Italian hoagie, and I can fix anything. Trust me.
If you want to stop the prophecy over lunch, I think you will need a bigger lunch.
Well, I need to be careful not to eat too much. Especially
with those arms.
I just blow up and,
Tony, your tricep. My God.
Please excuse me. I need to jot down some ideas.
Are you making prophecies of your own?
Shoo, go, Genie's at work. Gotta get a sign.
Okay, going to bed. Good night, everyone. Sweet. Thank you, guys. Like and subscribe if y'all like it. Y'all rock. God bless. Y'all have a good one.